Buonasera, bentornato to another episode of This is CALCIO. And boy, we have news for you. So recently the FIGC have announced that Juventus have been found guilty of creatively cooking their books. So they were given a 15-point penalty for the season. So now they were third in the league, and then they dropped immediately to 10th place. This was after match week 18. And then that's not all. If these documents are to be believed, that it has been going around Twitter. So all the players in the 2019-2020 season, including the manager, yes, Maurizio Sarri, and 17 players from the 2020 and 2021 season will most probably receive a minimum of 1 month ban, and that includes ex-players, yes, even Chiellini, Bentancur, and even Ronaldo will receive a minimum of 1 month ban. But that's not all. Additional sanctions will include relegation and the stripping of the 2019-2020 title, which means the title will most probably go to Inter, the team who got second in that season. So of course this punishment has not been meted out yet. The 15-point deduction, the 15-point docking for Juventus for this season is that Juventus have already said that they will be appealing for that. But the thing, and they say that they are not guilty. But the thing is, if they are not guilty of doing such things, why were the previous board forced to resign and a new board of directors put into power? So if you're not guilty, why would you do that? Why would you let the previous board of directors go, force them to resign? You know, if there's no fire, there's probably no smoke, right? So last week was match week 19. Despite Juventus's problems off the field, they didn't have any problems on it. They had a 6-goal thriller against Atalanta, in which the score ended up 3-all. Juventus actually led 2-1 at halftime, but Atalanta equalized in the second half and went ahead before Danilo managed to equalize for the Bianconeri and ended up in a 3-all score. One of the big surprises in match week 19 was Empoli beating Inter 1-0. Inter was playing more than 45 minutes with 10 men after Milan Skriniar was booked for a second time in the 40th minute, and that means he got the red card. However, it was Empoli youngster Tommaso Baldanzi who scored the winning goal for Empoli. The other big surprise was Lazio thrashing Milan 4-0. Lazio was already up 1 goal after just 4 minutes thanks to Sergej Milinkovic-Savic. Zaccagni then made it 2-0 in the 38th minute. It was 2-0 at halftime, and then Luis Alberto's penalty just after the hour mark put Lazio 3 goals ahead. And to compound even more misery for the Rossoneri, Felipe Anderson scored with 15 minutes to go, making it 4-0. Let's look at all the other scores from match week 19. Hellas Verona and Lecce finished the match goalless, while Salernitana lost to neighbours Napoli. Torino beat Fiorentina 1-0. While Udinese beat Sampdoria with the same. Monza on a small unbeaten run with their draw against Sassuolo, while Roma beat Spezia 2-0. Bologna could only manage a draw against bottom place Cremonese. Well, let's look at the table after 19 matches. Napoli at the top, 12 points clear of Milan in second place, while Lazio, Inter and Roma share the points at 37 each. Atalanta trailing behind the top 5 with 35 points, while Udinese make up the last European spot with 28 points. Torino, Empoli and Juventus make up the rest of the top 10 with 26, 25 and 23 points respectively. Juventus of course having a 15-point reduction this season. Fiorentina drop into the second half of the table once again with 23 points, same as Juventus and Bologna. Monza not far behind with 22 points, while Lecce, Spezia, Salernitana and Sassuolo just above the relegation zone. Hellas Verona in the relegation zone with 12 points, while Sampdoria and Cremonese make up the bottom two with 9 and 8 points respectively, with 19 more matches to go for this season. There is some interesting transfer news. Fiorentina and Napoli exchanged goalkeepers with Salvatore Sirigu going to Florence, while going the other way was Golini. There are also reports about Zaniolo going to Milan from Roma before the transfer window closes. There are also rumors about Juventus' player wanting to jump ship, especially the big one is especially Paul Pogba reportedly wants to go back to Manchester United. I mean, talk about that guy, this fella hasn't even played a single competitive match for Juventus this season, and now if the rumors are true that he wants to go back to Manchester United, yeah, he's probably just trying to avoid a sinking ship. There's also reports about Arsenal wanting to go for Federico Chiesa for 15 million euros. That's very cheap. Yeah, I mean, like, if Juventus is going to be relegated this season, I think there will be a lot of players that will be leaving. It won't be the same situation as 2005, where almost all of the players stayed when Juventus got relegated because of CALCIO. I think that if Juventus really does get relegated, a lot of players will be leaving the club. We're halfway through the season. Can Napoli keep this up, this run for the title? It's been 36 years since their last Serie A title. That was when I was just born, 1986. Can Napoli keep their pace, keep their heads, and finally win a Scudetto after 36 years? But first of all, Roma will be a test for Napoli this upcoming fixture, match week 20. And these are the other matchups this coming week. On Saturday morning, we have Bologna up against Spezia, Lecce up against Salernitana, and on Saturday night, Empoli up against Torino. Empoli, who recently won against Inter 1-0 victory. Bottom place team Cremonese hosts Inter Milan on Sunday morning, while Atalanta welcomes the second bottom club Sampdoria. Milan, after suffering that humiliating 4-0 defeat to Lazio, will welcome giant killers Sassuolo. Sassuolo isn't doing so well this season. They are well below mid-table. They're just hovering over the relegation zone, just 5 points from Hellas Verona. Juventus will be facing Monza. Monza is on a little bit of an unbeaten run so far. I think Monza is on a 4-game unbeaten run since the turn of the new year, with the first game of the new year against Fiorentina 1-1 draw, and then a 2-2 draw against Inter, and then they beat Cremonese a week before this, and then they got a draw against Sassuolo. They of course lost to Juventus in the Coppa Italia 2 weeks ago, with Federico Chiesa scoring the winner for Juventus. Can Monza get a result against Juventus this weekend? And then on Monday morning, we have Lazio up against Fiorentina, and of course the big one, Napoli against Roma. Last match of the round, we'll see Udinese up against Hellas Verona. Well, what do you think of the Juventus situation? Will they stay up, or will they be stripped of their title and get relegated, with players and managers getting a minimum of 1 month ban? What do you think is going to happen? I think the earliest we will know about this is probably in March, which is like about a month away from now. I can't wait to see it. Yeah, so what will happen when Juventus actually gets relegated? We'll find out soon enough. And the quarterfinalists of the Coppa Italia have been drawn, and these will be the matches for the quarterfinals. Inter up against Atalanta, Fiorentina up against Torino, Roma will be up against Cremonese, the last team on the Serie A table, and Juventus up against Lazio. Who will make it to the semi-finals? This will be a one-legged quarterfinal, so let's hope we'll see some interesting results. And yes, I've got the Italy national team latest kit from Adidas. This is the fan version. Yeah, I got it when I got it immediately after Western dropped it on their website. I just had to have it. Because I didn't like the last Puma one. My previous Puma Italy national team jersey was the one that they wore for the Euros 2020, which was played in 2021, which they won. So yeah, and of course I think the UEFA Nations League semi-final draw has been set. Italy will be facing Spain in the semi-finals. So, Forza Azzurri! I think that's all I have for you this week. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Ciao, ciao.